Hello, folks. Welcome to college football week 5 predictions. Uh, College football is way quicker than the NFL. Who would have thought about that? Let's get started. We'll kick it off on Friday between 8th ranked Florida State taking on Virginia at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Florida State is a 7.5 point favorites. The Seminoles, perfect record, of course. But can they go 4-0 against a very tested Virginia Cavaliers team that, despite their 3-1 record, they got a quarterback that can ball out for the Cavaliers? Here, it's going to be a tricky game. I'm going to take Florida State in this one. They'll win it by 4. 24th ranked TCU taking on Arizona State at 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Arizona State is a 3.5 point favorite. Yes, that means 24th ranked TCU is an underdog, despite their undefeated record. And they're coming off a huge milestone win against SMU, their rivals, of course. For Arizona State, massive win on the road against Baylor. So one of these two is going to have to get their 4th win of the season. Here, I'm going to roll the dice. Give me Arizona State by 5 points. On Saturday, you got 21st ranked USC taking on 23rd ranked Illinois at 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox. USC is a 1.5 favorite. Both these teams have some different schemes, by the way. For USC, 4-0 coming off a dominant win against Michigan State. Well, for Illinois, maybe we should not talking about that. Yeah, Illinois allowing 63 points to Indiana last week. 63-10 was the final. Here in Illinois, this is a must-win game for the Fighting Illini if they want to prove they could be a playoff contenders this year. While for USC, their mind is hopefully same thing, playoffs. I'm going to take Illinois playing at home in the Illinois. Fighting Illini will win. Sorry. Fighting Illini will win it by 5 points. Yep. 22nd ranked Notre Dame taking on Arkansas at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Notre Dame is a 6.5 point favorite. The Fighting Irish, finally, you guys got to win. But it was against Purdue, either way. But now taking on Arkansas, who had one of the most embarrassing losses to Memphis. Ugh. I'm going to take the Fighting Irish. I think they get back in the win column, and we'll probably start seeing that playoff projection from a 2% to maybe 15%, 30, 45. You know what I'm talking about. Notre Dame wins it by 10. Rutgers take on Minnesota at 12 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. Minnesota is a 3.5 point favorite. Yep, the shirt that I'm wearing represents the Gophers. But they're taking on Rutgers, who are coming off a tough loss last week on Friday against Iowa. Here, I'm going to take Minnesota. I think they pull off this big win against Rutgers. Give me Minnesota by a field goal. Duke taking on Syracuse at 12 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Duke is a 5.5 point favorite, and a good reason why is because Syracuse are coming off a big win on the road against Clemson, but Steve Anella is injured, so his status is on the line. They welcome Duke, who hopefully they should enjoy that win against their rivals, maybe I should not talk about them. Here, Duke should win it. I think Duke wins it big on the road. Duke wins it by 7. Louisville taking on Pittsburgh at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Louisville is a 3.5 point favorite, and they're undefeated also with their quarterback Miller Moss against the Pittsburgh Panthers, who are coming off a bye week. So a lot of juice for this game. This one is a one I would head scratching in this one. But I'm going to give the edge to Pittsburgh because they are coming off 2 weeks ago a loss to West Virginia, and they're looking like they're ready to go. So give me the Pittsburgh Panthers by 4. Cincinnati taking on Kansas at 12 p.m. Eastern on TNT. Kansas is a 5.5-point favorites. Kansas and Cincinnati. Yep, what a matchup this is going to be for these two teams. Cincinnati bye week, Kansas dominated West Virginia. So give me the Kansas Jayhawks by 6. UCF take on Kansas State at 12 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Kansas State is a 6.5-point favorite in a must-win game for the Wildcats against the Knights who destroyed Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels. Keep it that way. Give me Kansas State by 4. Number 1 Ohio State taking on Washington at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Ohio State is a 13.5-point favorite. I would say this is way too high because Washington is very competitive this year. And this should be a real fun test for Washington, and it's being played in their stadium against the Buckeyes. And Julian Selvin gets his first road test in the Big Ten. So, all that being said, this is going to be a fun matchup to watch. The question is, can Huskies defense slow down Jeremiah Smith? That is going to be the question. If they do, I can pull Washington State, pull off the upset. If they cannot, Ohio State wins it. This is going to be a fun one. I'm going to go Ohio State. It's really close to call, but give me the Buckeyes by 8. Number 4, LSU taking on 13th ranked Ole Miss at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. LSU is a 1.5-point favorite. Both these teams 4-0. One of them is going undefeated at 5-0. But this is a different story, of course. LSU's in the top 5. Of course, they're 4th ranked. While for Ole Miss, 13th ranked, of course, and they still find ways to win. Here, I'm going to take the LSU Tigers to take down Lane Kiffin and the Rebels. LSU wins it by 2 points. Auburn taking on 9th-ranked Texas A&M at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Texas A&M is a 6.5-point favorite. The Aggies, last week, 2 weeks ago, coming off a big win against Notre Dame on the road. They're back fresh, ready to go against an Auburn team essentially lost to Oklahoma, and I know Jackson Arnold felt like that's hard for him. This should be another great test for Auburn. Give me Texas A&M by 10. 11th ranked Indiana taking on Iowa at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. Indiana is a 3.5-point favorite. The Hoosiers, can they stay undefeated despite Kurt Zanetti telling the press conference, I'm a winner. Google me. Well, they're going to take on Iowa, who are coming off a massive win on the road against Rutgers. Give me Indiana by 4. UCLA taking on Northwestern at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. Northwestern is a 6.5-point favorite. Yes, why I choose this game? Because this is UCLA with debuting Dan Skipper or Tim Skipper, who is their interim head coach for the Bruins after firing Sean Foster. They're going to take on the Wildcats, who last time I heard them, they lost to Oregon. Fun one. It is played in Chicago, not where the Cubs play, but in the facility. It's going to be a fun one. I'm going to take Northwestern. Give me the Wildcats by 4. Cal taking on Boston College at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Boston College is a 6.5-point favorite. Both these teams, look, all I got to say is ACC battle. No matter who wins, don't matter. but these two teams need it the most. Very confidently, I'm going to take Boston College with an upset by 4. Utah taking on West Virginia at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Utah is a 9.5-point favorite after coming off a tough home loss to Texas Tech, while for West Virginia, tough road loss to Kansas. Here, I'm going to take Utah by 10. 15th-ranked Tennessee take on Mississippi State at 4:15 p.m. Eastern on SEC Network. Tennessee is a 9.5-point favorite against Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, who are undefeated. No way. Give me Tennessee by 20. Arizona taking on 14th-ranked Iowa State at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Iowa State is a 7.5-point favorite. This is going to be their biggest test for the Cyclones against an Arizona team. It's not Arizona State. It's Arizona who are undefeated. Give me the upset. Just kidding. Give me Iowa State by 4. Virginia Tech taking on NC State at 7 p.m. Eastern on the CW Network. NC State is a 10.5-point favorite, coming off a tough loss against their opponent. Which, if I have my schedule right now, what happened to you guys? Well, guess we don't know what happened to that one. Scratch that off. Taking on Virginia Tech, who also fired their head coach in Brent Pre. So a lot of this is new for Virginia Tech. Give me the Wolfpack by 10. Then it is the game of the week. Beaver Stadium, whiteout. 6th-ranked Oregon, undefeated, 4-0. Taking on the 3rd-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, 3-0. 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Penn State is a 3.5-point favorite. This is the biggest game of the week. I know you might be thinking, it should be Bama, Georgia. We had that last year. This year is the rematch of the Big Ten title game, and it's a whiteout game. How special is that than watching Bama and Georgia? Tell me. Fun game, by the way. This is going to be the biggest test for Drew Aller, of course, in his first Big Ten matchup against the Ducks, who he's already faced this team, of course, last year in the Big Ten title game. So a lot has changed. Dante Moore's the new quarterback. He's making his first ever Big Ten first Big Ten game. Here, whiteout game. Give me the Penn State Nittany Lions. I'm sorry, Oregon. Hit themselves back in the line. Penn State wins it by 5. 17th-ranked Alabama taking on 5th-ranked Georgia at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Georgia is a 3.5-point favorite. Another thriller, by the way. Last year we had it in Tuscaloosa. This year we're having it in Athens, Georgia. So big question will be, can Ty Simpson and Alabama offense slow down Georgia's defense? That's going to be the question in this game. While for Georgia, on the other hand, can Gunnar Stockton prove Georgia is really a national title contender? That's also the biggest question. Give me Georgia by 6. Kentucky taking on South Carolina at 7:45 p.m. Eastern on SEC Network. South Carolina is a 6.5-point favorite. 2-2 record. They cannot afford to go 3 losses in a row. Of course, losing to Missouri last week and lost to Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago. Against Kentucky, don't count Kentucky. Don't count out Kentucky. Give me South Carolina by 10. And then finally, 25th ranked BYU taking on Colorado at 10:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. BYU is a 6.5-point favorite. This is a rematch of the Alamo Bowl that took place 9 months ago on January. Of course, bowl eligible bowl games, of course. And BYU kicked the crap out of Colorado, said goodbye to Shador, Shiloh, and Travis Hunter for their final time this year. So, of course, this is the rematch of the Alamo Bowl. A lot has changed. Colorado still questions on their quarterback situation, which I don't know what's going on over there. But give me BYU by 8. And that's it for my college football week 5 predictions. Hello there. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news. If you're tuning in and watching this on TikTok, and if you want to watch more of them, you're welcome to come to my account, follow me on my TikTok account, and hit that like button. Comment down below your thoughts of college football week 5.